your meeting to order.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, counselors, for your special efforts on tonight. This meeting has been called to order. Welcome to the special meeting of the City Council here in the city of Bessemer, 1700 3rd Avenue North. Today is Monday, October the 11th, 2021. Roll call, Ms. Taylor.
Counselor Alexander,
Present.
Counselor Collier,
Present.
Counselor Crusoe,
Present.
Counselor Marshall,
Present.
Counselor Thickpen,
Present.
Counselor Matthews,
Present.
Counselor Donald.
Present.
We have 7 present, no absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Counselors, we're here to start the interviewing process of the 3 of the 6 applicants that we have received to be the city council attorney for the city of Bessemer. We will resume on Thursday at 6:30 to do the latter of the 3. We should have Attorney Biggers, Calvin D. Biggers tonight. We should have Ms. Kim L. Marks and Byron R. Perkins. Mr. Biggers, are you on the line?
Madam President, may I ask a couple of questions before we get started, just for procedural?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, it could be an advantage to others after this. Could we not live stream this meeting, so that the other candidates don't know what questions we're asking of the ones? It wouldn't be fair to the ones now. The ones later on could come back and they would know what we're asking. And it might be an unfair advantage.
We could actually ask that of Mr. Singleton.
And I also have another question. Are we
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to keep the others in the waiting room while we interview the current?
Yes, ma'am. That's why I asked, were they on the line?
Okay. Well, I didn't hear you ask Mr. Singleton if the others were in the waiting room, so I was just making sure.
No, I didn't. I wanted to see who was on the line
Okay.
before we asked that question.
Mhm. Well, looks like Mr. Biggers is the only one so far, which would be
Okay.
fine, unless if we can cancel the live stream.
Councilor Donald.
Who am I
Counselor.
speaking with?
This is Shan Payton.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to make certain I understand what you're trying to do, but I need to look at the governor's order and make
Okay.
sure that you don't have to post a recording of this within 24 hours. You know, the first order you could just post a brief summary, but I'm not
Right.
sure that's the case with this new order. So before y'all, I'll need to review that to see if you do have to post. You'll have to post something, but I'm not sure whether you'll have to, live stream it or post it on Facebook as you do, or YouTube.
So you'll view that after we finish tonight and let me know?
Yes, ma'am. I'll try to do it during the meeting if I can, but
Okay.
definitely will do it after the meeting tonight and let you know.
Madam President.
Yes, sir.
No, go right ahead. I didn't intend to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I was, from reading and hearing what her orders were, I was under the impression that we could and or do it live stream and or just post. Go ahead, Councilor Marshall.
I was going to ask a question in terms of the process, and with 6 candidates, at some point or some way, we've got to narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2. I mean, how are we going to do the process? Are we going to grade people, or just how are we going to get to that decision point is what I'm asking.
Yes, sir. I thought we would do it as we did the attorneys for the judge, but we won't do them all in one night. That will give us the opportunity to dissect what these 3 have said, and after Thursday, dissect what those 3 have said, and we'll come to a mutual agreement if we have to call a special meeting, or if we can meet after planning session and narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2 candidates. But if you can remember, when we did the judges, we had them all there at one time, and they just came up and we voted for each one of them individual. I just thought that would be a bit much for 6 candidates.
But you have to remember that, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, at that time, we wasn't Zooming then, so, we could do that, doing them all at one time and asking them questions, but by us Zooming, we're gonna have to come up with come to some common ground about a procedure that will take place after the second 3.
Yes, sir. We can do that, Councilor Matthews.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
And that's all I was getting to, as Councilor Matthews alluded to, is, have a process in place so that we can really narrow it down and and make a selection. Okay, thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Madam President, this is Shane again. I hate to interrupt, but I just looked up that order, and I think it will be sufficient if Ms. Taylor will it says you can post a written summary, and I think if she just posts a summary saying that the council met and interviewed 3 applicants for the city council attorney's position and put their names, I think that would be a sufficient enough summary. So I think that will meet the criteria.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. Did you hear that? Ms. Taylor?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was on mute trying to mute myself. Yes, I heard Shan, and I will do that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. Are there any more questions, counselors? If not, Mr. Biggers, are you on the line?
Madam President, we're still live on YouTube.
And Madam Chair, have the other parties been put in a waiting room?
Mr. Sink, the other parties, when we called them, we gave them a time. Mr. Biggers was 6 to 6:30. The next applicant was 6:30 to 7. And the next applicant was 7 to 7:30.
But still, what's to keep them from coming in if we don't put them in a waiting room?
Mr. Singleton, are you there?
Madam President, I am.
If there is another prospect that comes in, will you please put them in the waiting room? And only Mr. Biggers will be able to speak with the body.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm able to speak to the body. I hope you hear my internet is
Madam Chair,
unstable, and I may have to switch over to the phone for right now.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'm still not sure that Mr. Singleton.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Biggers. One moment. Mr. Singleton.
Madam
Mr.
President.
Singleton. Okay. Did you hear what Mr. Marshall requested?
Yeah, I was just wanting to know, really, was he gonna know, you know, that whoever is calling in trying to get on is actually one of the candidates? I mean, how will he know that?
Mr. Singleton?
If they apply their, Madam President, if they apply their label or their name to their device, I can't identify them. Other than that, it would just be a telephone number. However,
You gotta press the numbers.
I think we need to get that cleared up. Telephone number or some way he can identify.
Well, I know these three, the first three you can identify, Miss Marks, Miss Biggers, and Mr. Perkins. You can identify them when they call in.
okay.
I mean, how are we to be sure of that they just won't call and a phone number pops up and not a name?
I can ask when I ask Mr. Marshall, Councilor Marshall, when I ask, is just like I asked, was Attorney Biggers on the line? I can do the same thing. Is Attorney Marks on the line? Is Attorney Perkins on the line? And Mr. Singleton has can mute them to where they can't hear what is going on. Is that true, Mr. Singleton?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Feedback on.
Madam Chair, can you hear everybody?
Singleton, I'm getting a lot of feedback from you.
Yes, ma'am. We have an individual on the line. We have a number actually that is called in. I do not recognize the
What is the number? What is it?
259-9239. That's actually on the call now. It wasn't there.
259. Okay, well, we won't let that number in, Mr. Singleton, because that is not one of the numbers that I have here.
Okay, I've placed it in the waiting room. Give me just a moment. Waiting room. Madam President, I can make this real simple.
Yes, sir.
When an individual comes, when a candidate enters the waiting room, they can actually send a message that they are in the waiting room, and everyone on the call could actually see the message, including myself. And at the time, at the appropriate time to announce that you want that individual to enter the room, I can, or to allow that individual into the room, I can allow that individual into the room if they announce themselves by chat, basically typing in the chat session that they have arrived and are waiting, and therefore we that should address Mr. Marshall's concern.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, I'll leave after this one. Maybe going forward, you'll get from those candidates a particular phone number that they will definitely be calling from.
Yes, sir. I'll ask that question when we speak with the latter of the three candidates on Wednesday.
Okay, I think that might help us. Thank you.
And Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
To be equal, and I'm not going to say anything else. This to be equal, they're going to be in the chat because we're 15 minutes into it now. So so 7:15, I guess, would be the next one. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Attorney Calvin Biggers.
Madam President, he was the one. If you look at his resume, the number that we couldn't identify was him calling in because he said he may have to get on his phone. So if you look, it's that 259-9239 is Mr. Biggers. And we're still live on YouTube. We're still live on YouTube, Mr. Singleton.
Yes, ma'am. Give me just a moment to enable waiting room and council live. Stand by.
So, Madam President, one last thing. If members of the public need to be allowed into the meeting, I understand the people that you're interviewing, you don't want them in, but members of the public should be allowed to listen to the meeting, okay?
So how you gonna control? I mean, I know we can't control them, but I'm just not.
That's right.
I'm not feeling comfortable about how we're gonna control those persons who put resumes in if they call from a foreign number that we don't have. I'm just concerned about that. And as Councilor Matthews said, you know, we're moving into the time that the second candidate was to come online to